Tonight, America is mourning. We didn't just lose a star, we lost a legend, a piece of history.
The news arrived quietly but carried deep meaning for football fans across generations. Former professional football player Matt Snell passed away on March 10, 2026, at the age of 84. For many who remember the early days of modern professional football, his name represents strength, determination, and one of the most unforgettable moments in the sport's history. Snell was not just a powerful runner. He was part of a turning point in American football. Born on August 18, 1941 in Ohio, Snell grew up during a time when football was becoming a defining part of American sports culture. From a young age he showed unusual strength and determination. Those qualities would later make him one of the most respected fullbacks of his generation. His journey to national attention began at Ohio State Buckeyes. Playing college football for Ohio State, Snell developed a reputation as a hard runner who refused to go down easily. Coaches admired his work ethic. Teammates respected his quiet toughness. It was clear that he was destined for the professional stage. In 1964, Snell made a bold step into professional football when he signed with the New York Jets of the American Football League. At the time, the AFL was still competing for recognition against the more established National Football League. His signing was seen as a major victory for Jets owner Sonny Werblin, who was determined to build a competitive team. In fact, Snell's arrival was one of the first major moves that helped bring attention and credibility to the franchise. Years later, another major signing would follow, the arrival of quarterback Joe Namath. Together they would help create one of the most memorable chapters in football history. Snell quickly became known for his powerful running style. He ran low to the ground using his strength and balance to push through defenders. Fans admired his toughness. Opposing teams feared his ability to gain tough yards in critical moments. But his defining moment came during one historic game that changed the way people viewed professional football. In January 1969, the Jets faced the heavily favored Baltimore Colts in Super Bowl III. Many experts believed the AFL team had little chance against the powerful Colts. Yet on that day, Matt Snell delivered one of the most important performances of his career. Running with patience and strength, he carried the ball again and again, controlling the pace of the game. Snell rushed for 121 yards and scored the Jets' only touchdown. His steady running helped keep the Colts' offense off the field. When the final whistle blew, the Jets had stunned the football world with a 16-7 victory. That moment changed everything. The win helped prove that the AFL could compete with the NFL. It also helped pave the way for the historic AFL-NFL merger that soon followed. Many fans still remember Snell's calm confidence after the game. It was the kind of performance that did not rely on flash or drama. Instead, it showed quiet strength and discipline. Former teammates often spoke about the respect he earned inside the locker room. One former Jets player later shared in a tribute, "Matt was the kind of teammate every team needs. He didn't talk much. He just did the work and showed up when it mattered." Fans also remembered his connection with the team in the city of New York. On social media after news of his passing, one longtime fan wrote, "Matt Snell helped give the Jets their greatest moment. For those who saw it, it will never be forgotten." Another tribute from a football historian described him simply but powerfully. "He was the engine of that historic victory." Even after his playing career ended, Snell remained a respected figure in football history. His name continued to be linked to the game that changed the balance of power in professional football. For the Jets organization and their fans, that legacy still carries deep meaning. Today, as the football world reflects on his life, many remember the image of a strong runner pushing forward through defenders. It is a picture that captures the spirit of an era when the sport itself was evolving. Matt Snell may no longer walk onto the field, but the story of his strength and determination remains part of football history. And for those who still remember that unforgettable championship game, his legacy will always run forward. Strong, steady, and impossible to forget. The news arrived with a quiet sense of loss for fans of classic television and film. Actress Jennifer Runyon, remembered for her warm screen presence and memorable roles during the 1980s, has passed away. For many viewers who grew up during that era, her performances were part of a time when television and movies carried a unique sense of charm and simplicity. Runyon was not the loudest star of her generation, but she had something many actors hope for: a natural presence that made audiences feel comfortable the moment she appeared on screen. She was born on April 1, 1960, and grew up surrounded by the creative world of Hollywood. Her father, Jim Runyon, was a well-known radio announcer and voice actor. Through him, she developed an early understanding of storytelling and performance. Still, Jennifer Runyon built her career on her own terms. In the early 1980s, she began appearing in television shows and films, slowly building a reputation as a reliable and talented young actress. She had a friendly, approachable style that fit perfectly with the television landscape of that time. One of her early film appearances came in the cult horror movie Ghostbusters, where she had a small but memorable role. While the appearance was brief, it placed her within one of the most iconic films of the decade. Around the same time, she also appeared in the slasher film To All a Good Night. The movie later became a favorite among fans of classic horror cinema. It showed that Runyon could move easily between different types of roles. But television would soon become the place where many viewers recognized her most. Throughout the 1980s, she appeared in a wide range of popular TV shows, including Charles in Charge and Another World. These shows brought her into living rooms across America and helped establish her as a familiar face for television audiences. Her acting style was often described as natural and sincere. She did not rely on dramatic gestures or heavy dialogue. Instead, she brought warmth and honesty to her roles. Producers appreciated her professionalism. Viewers appreciated her relatability. A former television producer who worked with Runyon once reflected on her presence on set. "Jennifer had this calm energy," he said. "She walked into a room and instantly made everyone feel comfortable." That translated beautifully on camera. Fans who followed her career through the years also shared their memories after the news of her passing. One longtime viewer wrote online, "Jennifer Runyon was one of those actresses you always smiled when you saw on screen. She felt like someone you already knew." Another tribute read, "She represented the spirit of 1980s television, light, fun, and genuine." While she never chased the spotlight of major celebrity, Runyon quietly built a career that touched many different corners of the entertainment world. From horror films to sitcoms and daytime television, she moved through each role with the same steady professionalism. For audiences who watched television during the 1980s, those moments remain part of a shared cultural memory. In later years, Runyon stepped away from the constant spotlight of Hollywood. Yet the work she left behind continued to live on through reruns, streaming services, and the enduring affection of fans who remembered her performances. For them, her roles are small time capsules of an earlier era in television. They bring back memories of evenings spent watching sitcoms with family. Memories of classic movies playing on late-night television. Memories of a time when storytelling felt simple and heartfelt. Jennifer Runyon may be gone, but the warmth she brought to the screen remains. And for those who remember the glow of 1980s television, her presence will always be there, smiling gently from the screen, part of a decade that still lives on in memory. The news was confirmed quietly, but its meaning echoed across the world of music and history. Country Joe McDonald, the singer whose voice helped define the protest spirit of the 1960s, has passed away. For many who lived through that turbulent decade, his music was more than entertainment. It was a message. A call for peace during one of the most divided times in American history. Country Joe McDonald was never just another musician. He became a symbol of a generation that believed music could challenge power and inspire change. He was born Joseph Allen McDonald on January 1, 1942 in Washington, D.C. As a young man growing up in the years after World War II, he witnessed a country moving through rapid social and political change. Those early experiences shaped his view of the world. In the 1960s, he found his voice in the growing folk and protest music movement. McDonald soon became the frontman of the psychedelic rock band Country Joe and the Fish. The group emerged from the vibrant music scene of San Francisco, where artists and activists were experimenting with new sounds and new ideas. Their music blended folk, rock, and political commentary. One of the band's most famous songs was "I Feel a Vixen to Die Rag." The song became one of the most recognizable anti-war anthems of the Vietnam era. With sharp lyrics and a simple but powerful melody, it captured the frustration many young Americans felt about the war. The song did not hide its message. Instead, it spoke openly about the human cost of conflict. In 1969, MacDonald delivered one of the most unforgettable performances of his life during the historic Woodstock Music Festival. Standing alone on stage with his guitar, he performed the song in front of a massive crowd. Before singing, he led the audience in what later became known as the famous fish cheer. Tens of thousands of people joined in, shouting together in a moment that would become part of music history. For many who were there, it was more than a concert. It felt like a voice for an entire generation. A fellow musician who performed during that era once reflected on MacDonald's influence. "Country Joe had the courage to say what many people were afraid to say," he said. His songs told the truth about what people were feeling. Fans remembered the moment as well. One longtime listener shared in an online tribute, "When Country Joe sang, it felt like he was speaking for all of us who wanted the war to end." Another fan wrote, "His voice carried the spirit of protest, but it also carried hope." Although he became famous for protest music, MacDonald's career was far broader than one moment or one song. Over the decades, he continued to write, perform, and explore many musical styles. He released numerous solo albums and toured widely, performing for audiences who had grown up with his music as well as younger listeners discovering it for the first time. His work often reflected a deep interest in American history. Later in life, he even recorded projects honoring soldiers and veterans, showing that his views on war and peace were thoughtful and complex. Through it all, he remained deeply connected to the power of music as a way to bring people together. Those who knew him personally often spoke about his sincerity and humility. One close friend shared a simple reflection after the news of his passing. "Joe never stopped believing that music could make people think and care. That belief stayed with him his entire life." As the years passed, the world changed. The protests of the 1960s slowly faded into history books. But the songs of that era never disappeared. They continued to play on old records, radio stations, documentaries, and concert stages. And among those songs, the voice of Country Joe MacDonald remained unmistakable. Today, his music stands as a reminder of a time when artists were not afraid to challenge the world around them. His songs captured the fears, hopes, and anger of a generation searching for peace. They also showed how powerful a single voice with a guitar could be. Country Joe MacDonald may have left this world, but the message within his music still echoes across time. And somewhere, in old recordings and memories of a distant summer in 1969, his voice continues to rise above the crowd, singing not just about protest, but about the enduring hope for a better and more peaceful world.